What's up, CYC?
Hey guys.
I'm here in the studio with my girl Chloe. She's bringing the word tonight. And before we get started, we wanted to intro our new intro video.
So intro the intro.
So we're introing the intro. So Andrew, you can go ahead and hit that video.
The ways they try to save
And we back. What'd y'all think? I want to hear what you guys thought of that video. Andrew Coonrod and Josh Soto put in a lot of time in that video. So if you loved it, please comment dope.
With as many O's as you possibly can.
As many O's as you can. So if you guys have been tuning in all month, we've been talking about worship. And so actually, it was like 2 or 3 months ago, I'd asked Chloe to speak on this specific Wednesday because it was the Wednesday following Reveal conference, which we're super sad that we didn't get to go to this year. Dumb COVID. It happens. So we're continuing our series on worship. You guys know the drill. If you comment in the first 10 minutes, if I see your comment, I'm seeing all you guys comment right now. Big time YouTube commenters. I love it. What's up, Seth, Hannah, Jalissa, all the dopes. I love it. Rocky, Jordan. Oh, it was Jordan's birthday yesterday. Okay, can we talk about how we had like 7 birthdays in the past week?
Know how that happened.
Yeah, it's like everyone was just born in the same week. So if you comment, we can see all of y'all. If you comment the first 10 minutes, we can see you. You get a pizza. You'd be entered into a drawing to have a pizza delivered to your house tonight. And we haven't had any boys that have won the competition.
Really?
Yet. It's been all girls. Totally random. But I need you to comment. Jordan is here. What's up, Jordan? Happy birthday, Jordan. Happy birthday yesterday. I think there was 3 birthdays yesterday. I think it was Jordan, Avery, and Amelia.
Mm-hmm.
All had birthdays yesterday. So happy birthday, everybody out there watching. Just if I miss your birthday, happy birthday in advance.
This is the happy birthday. So if I forget, this negates that.
Exactly. David said parents love April. That's why. Wouldn't that? Wait a minute.
Never mind.
Well, it's 7:04. We got a worship set teed up, ready to go. It's absolutely fire. Can't wait for you guys to see it. David Useda and Rachel McCarroll work really hard on the planning center and all these worship sets for you guys. So if you enjoy it, comment some like hands up emojis, some hand claps emojis during the worship, and feel free to worship as big as you can through a screen.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be back. When we come back, it'll be just Chloe in here, and she's got a great word for you guys. So Andrew, you can go ahead and hit that worship set.
Hold me now in the hands that created the heavens. Find me now where the grace runs as deep as your scars. You pulled me from the clay. You set me on a rock. You called me by your name and made my heart whole again. Lift it up, and my knees know it's all death has no hold on me, 'cause your grace holds that ground, and your grace holds me now. Your grace holds me now. Oh, we worship you, Father. We worship you, name above all names. Oh. You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. Great are you, Lord. You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. Sing all the earth. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord.
Hey guys, I cannot tell you how excited and how humbled I am to be here. I was taught to honor whenever you get the chance to speak because it is not something that you should take lightly. And so I just wanted to thank Pastor Turner for giving me the stage, so to speak, and also to thank all of the pastoral staff and everyone who makes Calvary what it is, and that they give people opportunities to live and walk in the gifts that God gives them. And I also quickly wanted to just thank Andrew for putting this together and making this possible, because we would not be able to have CYC without some tech person. So there's that. But I'm just going to jump straight in. I am going to be reading from Exodus 14, and I'm going to start at verse 5. And this is where the Israelites have already gotten out of Egypt. They've made it all the way through, and now they're at the Red Sea, and they're backed up to the Red Sea, and this is where Pharaoh decides that, well, I kind of want the Israelites back. So it starts at verse 5, and it says, "When the king of Egypt was told that the people had fled, Pharaoh and his officials changed their minds about them and said, 'What have we done? We've let the Israelites go and have lost their services.' So he went and had his chariots made ready and took his army with him. He had 600 of his best chariots, along with all of the other chariots of Egypt, with officers over all of them. The Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, so that he pursued the Israelites, who were marching out boldly. The Egyptians, all of Pharaoh's horses, chariots, horsemen, and troops pursued the Israelites and overtook them as they camped by the sea near Pi-hahiroth, opposite Baal-zephon. And as Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up, and there were the Egyptians marching after them. They were terrified, and they cried out to the Lord. They said to Moses, 'Was it because there was no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Didn't we say to you in Egypt, leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die out in the desert.'" And this is where it gets good, y'all. Moses answered the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only be still." And I absolutely love Moses' response, because he doesn't say, "All right, we have God on our side. Let's just fight our way out of this. Let's get creative. Let's dig ourselves out of this. We just need to fight." No, he says, God's already promised us deliverance. We know that we're going to be able to get out of this. But first, we need to still ourselves. We need to be still. And one thing I want to note about this passage that really stood out to me is that the enemy's best has no match for God. Like, it says that the Egyptian army had everything that it had to offer and some, but it was still taken down by God because God promised deliverance over the Israelites. And sometimes I wonder what it would have been like to be an Israelite in this situation. Like, you are backed up to the Red Sea. Like, maybe your feet are even a little bit wet because you've backed up so far, because you look in the distance and you see everything that has enslaved you and your family for the past 400 years, and that you thought you had a false sense of freedom from by going through the desert. And you see everything that has enslaved you and everything that you've feared is now coming back at you at a blistering pace, and it's coming towards you, and you see it in the distance, and now you're scared. So you start attacking the people and the person that God put in front of you to lead you. So you start attacking Moses, and you say, "Why did you bring us out here? Why did you bring us to the desert? Like, we're going to die out here. It would have been better if we had just stayed in servitude than to die out in the desert." And Moses says, hold on, we've made it this far. We've gotten through drought. We've gotten through having no water, no food. We've made it all the way through the desert. God has guided us. He has our back. He's promised us deliverance. But first we need to be still. And I think that's something that we underestimate, just like the Israelites did, is stillness, and stillness specifically in worship. So you've probably heard some sort of message like this before, like worship and prayer with God is like a phone call, right? It's like a conversation. So if you're constantly talking, then you're not going to be able to let God speak into your life. And, we'll nod our head and like maybe even give a little amen to the pastor and speaker, but we never actually apply it to our lives. We continue to worship and clutter the space with anxious hearts and cluttered minds, and we come before God and we don't be still. And whenever we try to fill the silence, whenever we try to fill the space with worship and like the space around us of worship, and instead of just allowing God to fill the silence, whenever we fill it with what we have, whenever we fill it only with our troubles, it's only filled with our anxieties. See, we feel as though if we aren't constantly talking in prayer and in worship and just throwing all of our anxieties and all of our fears down, then we're not in communication with God. We feel if we're not filling the space with the things that have been on our mind, that it's not communicating with God. It's not worship. It's not prayer. And what I'm not saying is going to God is a bad thing, especially for the things that you have that are bothering you or scaring you or that are making you sad. What I'm saying is, or because that is so important. The Bible specifically says, cast your cares on God. And that's okay, right? Like lay it at the foot of the cross. But the problem becomes whenever we only fill the time with worship with our problems. Because whenever we do that, whenever we only ever come to God for the things that are bothering us, what we're doing is we're glorifying our issues above God because we don't know how to only just be able to glorify Him. So we're putting our problems and our issues and what we're struggling with, and we're saying that it's more important than God. And so there's so much power in allowing God to fill the silence and allowing God to fill the space instead of bringing our own agenda to worship. Because whenever we try to fill the space, it's filled with anxiety and fear and anger. It's filled with hatred and confusion and sadness. But whenever we allow God to fill the silence and whenever we allow God to still our hearts and still our minds, it's filled with joy and peace and love. And most importantly, it's glorifying Him. And so then, knowing all this, the question then becomes, how do we allow God to fill the silence? Well, to me, it goes back to what the Israelites were struggling with and what Moses was telling them. First, you need to be still. Because God promises the deliverance. We know this. God is going to get us through what we're scared about, what we're nervous about, what we're anxious about. We need to stand firm in what we believe, and we need to stand firm in the fact that God has deliverance for us and He has freedom. But you're never going to see those worries again. He says, you're never going to see the Egyptians that you see today ever again. But first, you need only be still. Because real, pure, true worship, untainted worship, just as Mr. Adam was talking about last week, it glorifies God. And it causes us to reset our minds, heart, soul, spirit, everything that we are, and it refocuses it back on God. And it cries out to Him in an exhortation of Him and lifts Him up. And it's saying, God, you are so merciful. You are so amazing. You are awe-inspiring. And it's glorifying Him, and it's taking the focus away from the problems, and it's then putting it back on God. And it's putting him on a pedestal, not your problems. It's putting him on a pedestal above what you have been worried about. See, God always answers prayers and he fights for us. And it starts with stillness. It starts with knowing that he has you and he is greater than anything that you have ever faced, and he's greater than anything you will ever face. And he has had you all of this time and he will always have you. And he is greater than any worry. He is greater than any problem. Whenever you feel like you're stuck, he's going to get you out. It starts with knowing that. And so then you can glorify him and worship him for the things that he's gotten you through and the things that he will get you out of. And whenever we need to settle our spirit, whenever we need to refocus our attention from our problems back to God, it's a sacrifice of the flesh. It's saying, I know nothing. God, you have me. And I would argue that self-sacrifice is the highest form of worship, because it puts aside your earthly desires and it brings the attention back to him and it glorifies him. And I mean, even Jesus practiced stillness and worship. Jesus' flesh and his human nature, he didn't want to die on the cross. He didn't want to, because he was part God, part human, and the human side of him was scared. The human side of him said, God, please take this portion away from me. But then he also said in the Garden of Gethsemane, where it all started, God, if this is what I have to do, then I will do it because it will glorify you tenfold. And it became the greatest thing that has ever happened to humanity, and it glorified him. But it started with stillness. It started with the settling of the flesh, and it started with taking the attention away from the anxiety and putting it back to him. So, as we move into the Zoom calls and as we move into this time of small groups, I want you to, like, if you answer no other questions, I would love it if you could answer the question, what have I done or what can I do that can practice stillness and worship? What are some objective and practical ways that I can practice stillness and worship where it's something that just becomes a part of my worship and a part of my prayer? But I'm going to pray us out really quickly, and then we'll move into those Zoom calls. So, dear Heavenly Father, I pray that these students just worship you with everything that they have, and that they glorify you above all else. And even through all of this, they don't become scared to come to you with their problems, but they glorify you above their problems. I pray that they stay safe and healthy through this time, and that the time that we get to come back together as a youth group will just be absolutely amazing. And I pray these things in your name. Amen.
What's up, CYC? Okay, you know the drill. You need to join the Zoom call right now. Go ahead and join that Zoom call so we can get people in and get everybody in your call so we can find out who won that free pizza. If you guys absolutely loved Chloe's message as much as I did, please shoot her a text. Make sure you comment on the videos. The videos will stay up so everybody can see your comments. I thought it was absolute fire. I thought it was amazing. I'm so proud of Chloe. She worked really hard on that message, and she did a fantastic job communicating it. So continue to join the Zoom calls. I'm getting everybody in as quick as as quick as I can. If you guys need the link, shoot me a text. I have the text fired up, ready to go. We'll get you in your breakout rooms. We'll get you guys in as quickly as possible, as quickly as we can, and we'll get things rolling. So keep joining the Zoom calls. I think we're gonna roll that outro video one more time, the intro video, so you guys can see it on the way out too. So Andrew, go ahead and hit that video, bro.